Today, we're talking to Rick McHone. He is a YouTuber and a real estate agent in the Phoenix, Arizona market, and we are so excited. Rick, we are so excited to have you on here today. Welcome to the iBuyer Experiment.
What's up, Rick?
Hey, Rick. Thank you. It's fun. Like I said earlier, I really love your setup there.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You got Phoenix back there behind you.
Yeah, it looks like it's just the view from my window. You know, it's just
that's beautiful. It's beautiful
I wish.
Perfect green screen. Yeah. It looks really good.
Quite the view.
Yeah.
Well, we're really excited to have you on here today. You are a YouTuber.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about your background, your YouTube channel, when you started, kind of the highlights of that journey.
Yeah, that's a fun story to tell. I always had a YouTube channel. You know, I was really big on putting videos on Facebook and you know, stupid, funny ones and things just to have fun and editing the process and stuff. And then I had about 180 subscribers on YouTube because I'd only put a video up from time to time. And lo and behold, you know, March 2020, spring training's canceled. Everybody says you got to stay home and, you know, 2 weeks to flatten the curve, right? And I thought, well, there went real estate, you know, so I thought I'm going to up my YouTube game. So I would upload 2, maybe 3 videos a week, just kind of sharing the numbers that we're seeing and trying to see if we see any changes. And it was good for me because it made me do a deep dive into the market, you know, every day to try and find something to not only talk about, but if there's any news I wanted to share. Yeah. And so my subscriber count started going up. And I thought, this is interesting. I got up to about 300 and I got my first phone call. Hey, Rick, we're subscribers to your channel. Do you work in Surprise? I said, sure. Got the listing and then I decided that I would do a morning live stream every morning at 8:30.
Wow.
Did that for about a year. Now I've cut it back to about 3 days a week now because, you know, sometimes there just isn't a whole lot that changes between Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah.
But I have 2,370, I think, subscribers now.
Yeah.
Wow.
All of my business, with the exception of one purchase last year, was YouTube. 100%.
Wow. That's amazing.
This is a game changer.
It was really cool.
I guess so. Oh my goodness. So you really kind of doubled down when the pandemic hit, it sounds like.
Yeah, I thought it was an opportunity where people would, you know, everybody had their own feelings on where the market was going to go, including me. I mean, I didn't think that there would be as much central bank and treasury intervention as there was. You know, if that was all left out, you know, it just would have been a disaster, right?
Yeah.
And you know, we would have had high unemployment, and then around September of that year, you probably would have started seeing the people in the C-suites get laid off. But that didn't happen. Now there's probably unintended consequences because of that we could talk on for days. But I felt people were really, I started seeing a lot of videos like we're just updating people on the progress of the next stimulus check. Mm-hmm. And they had all these followers, just, you know, and they were millions of views. Everybody wanted to know when the check was coming. So I started tracking inventory, and I did a 7-day moving average, how many listings came on and how many went under contract over the past 7 days, and started looking for any changes. And it's really interesting, the stuff that sticks out when you do that. And of course I have the Cromford report. So I would start talking about that. And then people would start asking questions. Tell me what's going on in Gilbert, what's going on in Surprise. And so I had a lot of interaction. I started interviewing my lender on Fridays. We did an Arizona real estate market and lending update every Friday. And when I first approached Pat, we were doing Zoom. I'd never gone live on Zoom with YouTube. And you can see it. We left that video up there. You know, it's like, are we on? I don't know. Oh, I see it. I think no. Oh, yeah, we're on. And hello, Pat. And Pat's like, Pat, your mic's not on. I mean, so it's funny.
Yeah.
but he said, what are we going to talk about? And I said, the same thing we talk about when we go out and have a beer, where there's going to be no script.
Right.
Just, we're just going to shoot the breeze.
Authentic. I love it.
Yeah.
So do you find that, making sure that you have your own unique brand and, unique messaging, I mean, obviously being an authentic guy has really kind of helped you out in that journey and capturing more subscribers?
I get comments that say, I appreciate that you're not a sensationalist. I mean, I make it a point to let everybody know that, if you're looking for a channel that tells you that there's going to be a crash, I'm not the guy. I like to say, I like to arm you with the current information so that not only do you have the right numbers for what's actually going on, but you'll be a hit at all the cocktail parties.
Yeah.
And so I get comments that say, I appreciate that you just tell it like it is. And I
Yeah.
don't make broad projections. I look at something and go, well, here's what this could mean. If this trend continues, it's going to be hard to buy a home, or it looks like it's still a good time to sell a home, but let's take a look at some other numbers. And here's what we can expect to happen next month. And I had one guy that was hitting me pretty hard every time, just, you don't get it. You've got all these charts. The market's going to crash. You don't understand it. And I said, well, hey, it might, and I'll be darned if he didn't put a comment on yesterday that said, Rick was spot on in predicting what was going to happen in real estate the past 6 months.
Wow.
Wow, that probably felt good.
I say, that's rewarding.
Hey, thanks, Jim.
You just really took what was happening in the market and just turned that into very easy to understand information, it sounds like, on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, it does, Kayla. It does two things. One, it forces me to learn the numbers like I never would try before. So that's the first important thing.
Yep.
And so I get up in the morning, have my coffee. The show starts at 8:30. So at about 6:45, I start diving into different websites that I look at. Market Watch, Realtor.com, the Cromford Report. I look at the actual numbers in the MLS and populate my 7-day moving average. I always start with that. It's just an Excel sheet. And then I just kind of do what I call cruising the news. And I just kind of like Phoenix Business Journal. And sometimes I get up, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. And which is kind of difficult because you still got to make your thumbnail, for YouTube. You still got to populate the timeline. So you're under pressure when you do a live stream.
Yep.
And so, it's like, okay, I got to get another cup of coffee. And so by the time I roll everything over to the next screen. So I've got two monitors. So I roll everything I'm going to talk about over there. And then I have a Elgato Stream Deck.
Oh yeah.
And I use open-based software, which you've probably heard of. And so you just program these buttons to go intro, and then screen with live chat and split screen. I just put it in front of me, and that's how I move from scene to scene.
Very cool.
And I had to learn that because I'd never done OBS. And my kids are proud of me because I'm 67. So, I says, I'm gonna learn this stuff. So
good stuff.
Hey,
That's
you
awesome.
probably know more than them now.
Yeah.
oh, my middle son described me as level 16-year-old Twitch.
Oh, nice.
That's
Another compliment.
impressive.
That's very
Yeah.
impressive. Yeah,
You have
you
to know what
learned
that
it.
means to know it's a compliment. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
for sure.
Very true. So you learned all of this because I hear a lot of realtors that want to get into YouTubing, and I think they're tripped up by the learning curve. So
Yeah.
It's an
talk to us a
excuse.
little bit about that.
yeah, it's an excuse. People say I'm 55. I can't. Well, really, I mean,
Right. You
you
can watch
can learn
YouTube.
anything on YouTube, and if you're a slow learner, then just pause it. So YouTube's my university. I went and
Oh.
looked up how to use OBS software, and I literally would have the software open, the YouTube video on this monitor and OBS on this one, and just remember, we're not selling houses. It's COVID's raging, and we're all staying home, and I'm just like one mouse click at a time. Okay, that's how I do that, and I got the basics down. And then learned how to integrate that with YouTube. But before that as well, I used StreamYard.
Mm-hmm.
which is really easy. So if people don't want that whole learning curve with OBS, I just recommend using Zoom or StreamYard.
Mm-hmm.
And StreamYard, you can put in your own graphics. You can interview two people and have your names down below and all kind. And that one's really easy to learn, and it's really easy to connect with YouTube.
Yep.
It's just one button. So I think people mentally look at something and they limit themselves. I could never learn that. Well, try it. Just go to YouTube and go, how do I use StreamYard? Trust me, you'll have video after video on how to use StreamYard.
Good stuff.
What kind of camera do I need? We'll put that in YouTube. What's the best camera for live streams?
Yeah, short lens.
What's the best light?
Question for you on that, Rick, just based on, kind of hearing you talk about this. So have you always been in real estate, or did you have a life before real estate career?
I believe it or not, I used to be the director of sales for Oro Wheat Bread in Arizona.
Okay.
And I had several states. I had $30 million in revenue that I managed.
Wow.
And I hated PowerPoint. I always had to make a PowerPoint presentation to present to the president of the company or just my staff. And I just thought it was the most mundane, boring thing. And so I learned, I always liked videos and cameras and stuff. And so I always started opening up or meetings with a quick video that was either funny or informative, or like we'd have award ceremonies for, best salesman of the year. And we would make a personal video about him, interview his customers. Nobody knew who it was until we got to the end of the video. And the goal was, make his wife cry. And so I always liked that, but I had to learn how to do editing again, one step at a time.
Yep.
But with live stream, there's no editing. It's just button pushing.
Yeah, that's cool. It kind of speeds up that editing process, makes life a little bit easier for you.
Yeah, if you're thinking about doing it, if you're a real estate agent, look, if you make a bad video, nobody's going to watch it. So don't worry about it.
That's great.
And you go, I don't like the way I sound on YouTube. Well, newsflash, that's the way you sound
all the time, right?
Yeah.
And,
so what did you think around like Zillow, for example, obviously when they made their huge announcement? I don't want to turn the clock back to that, but I'm just curious, like as you do your content and watching trends, et cetera, I mean, clearly those are some big shakeups and those types of things. Do you ever dive into those types of things?
I'm so glad you asked that question. Yeah. So glad. Yes. First thing I did is I just sat back and watched YouTube. YouTube lit up, right?
Yep.
And nobody was reading the details. So, and that's another thing I try to do. I say, when you see a headline, foreclosures up 67%, well, 67% of 140 foreclosures is not a big number.
Not a big number.
So you read the headline and you go look at the details. So I'm watching all these, I call them crashers, here it comes. Zillow sees numbers we don't see. The real estate business is crashing. They got out before the end is near. No. So I read their quarterly report. And you could see why they got out. They made huge mistakes. So I made probably 3 videos over the course of 3 weeks. It says, here's what we know and here's what we found out. First of all, they were overpaying for homes and then adding a 7% cushion on it because they wanted the seller to have a positive selling experience that would increase their reputation. And their analysts were saying, hey, knocking on the office, hey, Bob, hey, we paid $420 for houses worth $400, and your guys popped another $30,000 on top of that, and they had to give it up.
Yep.
They let the computer take it over, but I really pushed back on the argument that says Zillow sees numbers we don't. I kept saying, no, they don't. In fact, they're forecasting 2022 for real estate to go up 13.2%. Well, if that's the case, then why'd they get out? So
good stuff.
You couldn't do it.
Yeah. They let the computer do it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we always talk about that, right? They were a technology company turned home buyer versus a home buying company using technology to achieve scale. Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, there's some guys that just built their YouTube channel up to hundreds of thousands of views on Zillow getting out, markets crashing, and they get out like that. I mean, if I
Right, that's
put
good
up
stuff.
negative content, I would probably quadruple my views.
Interesting. So you found that the negative clickbaity content outperforms.
Yes. Yes.
So that's
By far.
So is
And I
that
mean, I can give you an example outside of real estate, kind of, sort of. Was talking to a guy, his friend is an inspector, and his inspector would make videos for YouTube on what he looked at, and he hardly got any views. If he made videos on stuff he found that was broken, that was odd, his views went the negative stuff, you know. I opened this up and found a rat's nest. So, but I think the negative YouTubers are not getting any business. They're getting views, but they're not getting any business.
So perhaps they're not building the trust that, for instance, you are with your viewers.
Yeah, I try to be really careful that my headline matches what I'm talking about. Because if somebody looks at a headline and they go in and go, well, I didn't think that's what he was talking about. So
They're less
I
likely
do
to pay attention to your content.
Yeah. And that's, that takes a couple cups of coffee in the morning.
Well, let's break it down. So I want to start a YouTube channel, and
Okay.
let's say, I figure out the equipment. I get the equipment figured out. What would be my first step?
Well, so you got the equipment, you know how you're going to film and all that stuff. So I wouldn't go live right away. I would just upload, which is, really easy. I would suggest go to some YouTube tutorials and learn how to make what's called a standard template. So that when you upload a video, it includes all of your information. So it'll say, like mine, will have all of my information down in the body and the content of the YouTube channel of the video. And it'll have a bunch of links for neighborhoods that I set up. And it'll have a Calendly link that says, book a Zoom call with me if you have any questions. And that's a standard template. Once you build that, it automatically defaults to that whenever you upload a video, because you don't want to type that in every time.
Yeah.
So look at YouTube on how to start and set up a channel. And then the important thing is make sure your title. So let's say we say Arizona, simply Arizona real estate. You want to put that in the title, and then you want that term to also be in the body. Today, we're going to look at what's going on in the Arizona real estate market, so that some of the title keywords are actually in the body. Then on the very bottom, when you're uploading a video, there's a little tiny line that says tags, and they allow you 500 characters for tags. Those are important to get discovered. So if you're not quite sure what tags to get in, let's say you want to be, YouTuber in Gilbert, Arizona, go find a successful YouTuber from Gilbert, Arizona, copy all their tags and put it into yours, and then take their name out, put your name in. And so watch as many other real estate agents as you can on YouTube to see what they're doing that, it looks appealing. And then upload your first video and see what happens. And, you can analyze it to death. When you get into YouTube analytics, it's a rabbit hole. I look and go, how many views do I have? How many likes do I get?
Sure.
And
the drop off, and when's the drop off, all of those things.
Oh yeah. Cause I was making some where people come in and watch it and they weren't hanging. And I learned that if you wanted to push the like button, you've got to say it a different way. You can't say, don't, forget to subscribe and like, because so I had one, I had a flashlight in my hand, and I said, when you push the like button, the lights flicker in my office, and I go, oh, thanks. Look at it. I was clicking the flashlight.
I love it.
That's a good one. I'm going to steal that. That's good.
The other thing too is when you're on a topic, people know when you're trailing off and you're about to end what you're talking about. So say we're talking about Zillow, and right at the end, I start to say, so let me recap. Well, you're out, right? So you don't ever want to give the impression with your tone or the topic that you're done. And so I'll be going along, and you'll see me just go, okay, take on the day and have a great week. Boom. And I hit my ending. And because that way I don't get that drop off at the end. So
I like it. Those are some really good tips, actually.
Yeah, great tips.
Yeah, great tips.
So
Thanks.
Rick, what does 2022 have in
Yeah.
store for you and your YouTube channel?
Well, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to continue to provide the data. I want to do more interviews with more people in the industry.
Mm.
I'm talking to a guy Thursday night in California. If you've seen Jeb Smith, he's Huntington Beach.
I
Jeb
have not.
Smith.
Sounds very familiar.
It does sound very familiar to me.
Terrific guy. I've interviewed him once before. I'm interviewing Sam DeGreen tomorrow morning with DeGreen Wealth Management. He's in his 30s, and we kind of take a look at the world at 30,000 feet and look at the general economy, and he's just funny as all get out. And him and his dad have a radio show on Saturday, so I just reached out to him. I plan on during the summer to continue to do the updates for Arizona, but I'm going to be traveling. I've got a travel trailer. I've got Wi-Fi hooked up in it, and I'm going to take a trip. I'm from Washington State. I'm going to be zipping up there.
Nice.
And I'll continue to update people and work on a referral basis with just some referral agents that, that I know will do a good job for me. And so I think right now there's just a lot of people sitting on their hands waiting for some inventory to show up.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's probably not going to come to Harbor.
Well,
Take
we're
a little bit.
5,500 this morning.
Yeah.
So low, still so critically
So low.
low.
Yeah, that was one of my last questions for you is, you being, obviously a bit of a data guy and trends watcher. What do you see?
Well, I inventory always goes up in January. It does every year. So really the only question is how much, further is it going to go? And you can literally look and see that last January and this January almost followed unit by unit, except we were down a few. You get a couple anomalies in there and you point it out and go, oh, what does this mean? And then you find out it just adjusts itself and gets back to normal. I don't see, based on what I'm looking at, a substantial enough inventory push in the first quarter to make one iota difference in pricing. Now interest rates did creep up on a national average of 3.6 today. So that's got a few people wigging out. That could have sales back off a little bit and have inventory creep up, but that'll again reach a point to where sales will increase. Oh, look, now there's finally a house I can get.
Yeah.
And so I think between here and March, we're going to see 2 to 3% appreciation per month again. Beyond that, March is the month where, Chairman Powell says he's going to really
Raise the
start
rate.
clamping down. So what does that mean?
We'll see.
It's funny you said that people are wigging out.
Yeah. 3.6.
That's what I was about
Like,
to say. I'm
it's
like,
just-
really? Like, we're so spoiled. We're upset that it's at 3.6.
Yeah, my first one was 11 3/4.
Yeah.
Whoa.
My first one was like 6.8.
Mine
So I've
was
had
in
a
the
couple.
sixes.
I've had a couple of sixes.
But I
Yeah,
will
people
also-
get used to this level,
Yeah.
and especially, the first time home buyers. And I have noticed that there's a lot of blame game out there that, this age group's blaming all the problems on that age group, and it's all greed and it's all California's fault. Well, look, Toronto's got 6.9 million people that live there. And they only have 2,900 listings. Is California contributing to their inventory problem? So it's national. It's, small town in Nebraska is having an inventory problem.
Yep.
And so, but we like to say it's California's fault. Well, guess what? California's not having a problem selling houses either.
Nope.
Mhm.
I don't know how people can afford it. But
Us either.
We've seen that.
I
Yeah.
think that's the wild card is affordability.
Yes,
'cause-
that is the wild card.
Yeah, for sure. 3.6 is still very low. Even
Yep.
if rates go to 4.5, still super low.
Well,
But
That
we're-
does reduce the sales
Affordability.
price,
Exactly,
yeah.
right. With our purchase prices. And I mean, where do you see prices going?
well, the market I think will eventually level itself out at one point. As you reach a peak of affordability, you either need to have a huge increase in wages, which I don't foresee, or you just have people saying, I'm out, which it's not that easy to do in Phoenix, because if you're out, you're still renting and that's still going up.
Yeah.
So, eventually the market will find the means. I just don't know how long that's going to take. And it could be that the rate increases could make renting, cheaper than buying. If it goes that way, like it did in the, early 80s. It depends on how sticky the inflation is. I worked in the grocery store in the 80s when, you couldn't get a raise. Nixon put on wage controls, and you were changing the prices of canned goods every day.
Wow.
And so I don't think we're going to see that kind of sticky inflation. There's different reasons, but everybody says, oh, the Fed's not going to clamp down and ruin, real estate. Well, they could. If inflation is getting so bad that it's about to cause major problems in every other segment, they'll sacrifice real estate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's not their job, is to prop up real estate. It's just that starting with Bernanke, when they, got this QE going, and then QE1, QE2, QE3, you had all this money chasing assets, and you only had two choices, real estate or stocks. And so we're in that zone that's hard to get out of right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the debt bomb is lit. I just don't know how long the fuse is.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well,
Could go on for another 5 years.
I like that.
I like that too. To your point, though, I think that, what do you think about this? Because I know I've read so many things, and I forget what the exact stat is, that, essentially almost 30% of money that exchanges in America has something to do with real estate, in some way, shape, or form, whether that be, servicing, bank, the banking pieces of it, all the people that work in the industry, from inspection to appraisers, et cetera. When you look at something that carries that type of magnitude to the American economy, there is a lot of decisions that have to be made around it. So like I said, I don't know if you've ever.
Well, that makes sense. And I'd say let's watch China now then, because China's got 25% of their GDPs in development and real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got two major builders, Evergrande being one of them, that couldn't make their bond payment in November.
Oof, yeah.
And they're approaching insolvency. And they got another one right behind them that says, yeah, we're having cash problems too. And then the third one's back there going, hey, yeah, I'm right behind you. And so if that sector collapses in China, what's that going to look like? And is that going to be contagious?
Yeah, they're going to come back to us, Colin.
In the credit markets, because Evergrande owed us a payment of $441 million on US dollar denominated bonds, and they couldn't make the payment. So I think if we want to know what it's going to be like if real estate starts turning in an economy that's dominated by real estate, China is going to be the one. And I keep in mind that China builds cities that people don't even move into.
Yeah, right. The empty cities.
Ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Freeways nobody drives on. So, but it's going to be an interesting one to watch. Everybody thought that China was just going to come in and take the company over, and they don't want it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be
a good thing or a bad thing?
They don't care either.
Yeah.
They don't care, but it's going to be, it concerns me that, because that could really make things messy in the global credit markets. Credit would be harder to obtain. But that's for greater minds than me. I do point out on my show all the time, look, none of the top economists got 2021 right. Realtor.com, Zillow, CoreLogic, and I'm not about to try it.
Yep. That's so true.
So
yeah, nobody saw the crazy spike, post pandemic coming the way it hit.
No, they thought it was going the other way.
Yep.
yeah, CoreLogic predicted minus 3.1.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Way
But-
off. Way off.
Yeah, that's a huge hit. And even the Crawford report will only go out like 3-4 months.
Yeah.
Because you just never know what can swoop up. And inventory tells the entire story. If we see inventory just start to spike,
Yep.
and it looks like
Yep.
it's consistently spiking, there you go.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If sales are not off the charts. I mean, the numbers are showing that sales are huge in Maricopa and Casa Grande because that's where all these new jobs are. But we've just got, our sales are about normal, but we just don't have anything to buy. I mean, you know, when you go out and you're showing a house, you're running into the same couples house after house.
Yep.
You're all looking at the same things, like hello, hi again. You just
Yep. It's that low inventory.
yeah, it's Saturday. Let's go look at the 5 listings.
Yep. Us and 50 other people.
Yeah. It gets kind of comical. That's happened. No matter what part of town I go to, that happens when you're showing a house. Oh, hi again. Are you following me or am I following you?
Yep.
That's good stuff.
But I mean, it'll keep us busy tracking the numbers for a long time. And I think that the YouTube audience has an appetite for knowledge. And I think if I was a new realtor and I wanted to start my own YouTube channel, read a headline and then dive into that headline. So remember when Wells Fargo got slapped around again? They got in trouble. That headline came out in the afternoon and I made a video and posted it within 20 minutes. It was one of my best ones because there was this.
Yeah.
And then the next day, it was nothing but realtors and Wells Fargo again saying it, you know, it's going to crash. Look, Wells Fargo pulled back on second mortgages. But read headlines in any publication, whether it's from a title company or if it's from, you know, realtor.com or Zillow, and then dive into the bottom of it, see what they're really saying and be a bit of a contrarian.
There you go. Be a little bit contrarian.
So
I
you'll
like
get
it.
get some views, you know, but I think you'll build yourself a reputation. Now, a lot of YouTubers have really good success of just doing neighborhood tours.
Sure, absolutely.
That takes a real
Yeah.
commitment, takes the right camera.
Oh yeah, on scene.
Yeah.
But what's going to get the calls, right? The calls, the leads.
That's
Right.
what I try to
Yeah.
concentrate on. What's going to get me the phone call?
Yeah.
A funny story. 2 months ago, I'm up in North Phoenix, up by Cave Creek in the 101, and pushing a cart in Costco. Guy wearing a mask. Hi, Rick. Or he goes, Rick. And I go, yeah. I'm sorry, I don't recognize you. Got a mask on. He goes, oh, you wouldn't. I'm one of your YouTube subscribers.
That's
Oh,
good
I
stuff.
love it.
Like,
I'm sure that felt good.
yeah, that's like, that felt really
Yeah.
cool.
I said, that's the first time that's ever
Famous.
happened.
YouTube famous.
Yeah, famous.
Well, when they want to meet you at a house, you know, you pull up, they know what I look like. I have no idea what
Yep.
who they are,
Yep.
you know, except you just see them standing by the front door, like, you know,
Yeah.
that must be them.
They
Here I
they
am.
like that.
Oh yeah.
Here I am.
Fun. Well, this
Yeah.
has been great, Rick.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you coming on and sharing with us how to grow a YouTube channel and also all of your insights as to what's going on in the market. So we appreciate you.
Yeah. that
I
was
appreciate
awesome.
you guys
Yeah,
having me.
wealth of knowledge.
It's
Love
a
it.
fun hobby too. So
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Well,
Seems like it.
67, and you are just crushing it on YouTube. You're such an inspiration. We thank you so much, and we'll have to have you back again soon.
Yeah, man. Thank you so
sounds
much. for your
great.
time.
Nice
Appreciate
chatting
it.
with you all.